Hey folks, I'm attorney Roger P. Foley. I was just starting a gentleman and his son who were in my office recently. And I had been hired. The young man had a theft case. Got him into PTI, pretrial intervention. And while he's in pretrial intervention, he picks up a new charge. He doesn't get taken down to the police station, but he's given a notice to appear. It's a promise to appear by a law enforcement officer, and he gets a charge for petty theft. And the allegation involves not ringing up the items. You go through Publix, right? And you got 10 items, and you only ring up 9 of them, and then they stop you. By the time you leave all points of sale, you go past the cash registers, you're walking out the door, and they stop you and they count your items. And the father and I were talking about it, and we were talking about the paranoia that we both feel when we go through a self-checkout line, right? Self-checkout lines are everywhere now, right? But I don't want to go to a self-checkout line. Why? Because I'm scared I'm not going to ring everything up, and the last thing I want to do is get arrested. So, you're either counting every single item, making sure it adds up, or you're asking an associate, hey, can you make sure that I got everything? Because if you don't get, just to say you made a mistake, you're getting arrested. You might get a promise to appear, so you have a legal arrest, not a physical arrest, right? They're not taking you down, to the county jail every time. They're not, strip searching you. They're not, reading your rights, taking your mugshot, but they're giving you a notice to appear or promise to appear, which is a legal arrest. And I was able to watch, I was interacting, with both, father and son, and I could tell very, very good parent, very good person. Moral compass was right on point. And the young man was saying, hey, look, I just made a mistake. I just, it was 10 items and I rang up 9 of them. I thought it rang through, it didn't. So we sat with, the young man and we talked about the items, and we gave some examples, right? So let's say you bought a bottle of shampoo, right? Shampoo, okay, what shampoo? I don't know, $7. You bought a gallon of juice. I don't know, let's say it's $3.99. You bought some nail clippers, $2. You bought a glucose monitor for diabetes, or blood pressure pump. Let's say those were $39 or $59. Let's say the blood pressure pump was $59. And then you bought, I don't know, a pack of chewing gum. Just give an example, right? Well, if the total bill comes out to $50 and you got the blood pressure thing, right? You kind of know something didn't add up, right? Because the blood pressure pump by itself is $59. So if you missed it when you looked at the total, right? That's why they do that on these machines, right? When you look at the machine, it says, check the total, usually list out all the items and it gives you a total, and then it says pay. And why does it do that? So it gives you an opportunity, right? At least my humble opinion, it gives you an opportunity to look at the numbers, the amount of items there, the total cost. And right, if you bought a blood pressure and you bought all these other items, you'd probably be in the $100 range, something like that. But this young man's total was only like, 40 something bucks. So obviously something got missed. So if you missed it initially, you should have caught it the second time. So the father was, going through this with the son and go, look, if you missed it, I get it, but how'd you miss it a second time? And it all came down to, and what we talked about was always being focused on the task at hand. And you've heard people say, if you're a custodian, right? If you sweep floors for a living, if you wash floors, have the best floors, right? Focus on the task, sweep them thoroughly, wash them thoroughly. Make sure you do it the best you can do it. And do that, take that energy, take that focus, take that discipline, and put it in all aspects of your life. Now, some people, right, and I get it, the younger crowd may be like, but the older crowd says, look, if I'm purchasing something, I'm focusing on what I'm doing. And then when I'm finished with that task, focus on one thing at a time. And look, could it happen, folks? Of course it could happen. But if you already have one theft case, and now you pick up another theft case, who's going to believe you? Who? If you have an enabling parent, they might believe you, right? Or grandparent or aunt and uncle, right? People that enable you. But if it's someone who's objectively thinking, they're going to go, who the hell is going to believe that? You already stole something before. Now you're accused of stealing something again. And what is a courtroom, a judge going to do? What's a prosecutor going to do, right? On decision making. Am I going to call and be like, oh, look, he just made a mistake, and yeah, but he already has a theft case, right? Once a thief, always a thief. You've heard that expression. So it was a very nice, it's a tough situation because a young man's getting arrested and he's facing charges. But from another aspect, it was nice to see a parent that truly cared, that was calling out the BS, right? Like, you hear about the kids that get in trouble in school, and then, a teacher disciplines them, maybe too sternly, or says something inappropriate or whatever. And, back in the day, a parent would say, hey, little Johnny, what did you do? What did you do? The teacher's not lying. To now we live in, 2025, and it's always the teacher's fault. It's always the principal's fault, the guidance counselor's fault. It's everybody's fault except little Johnny. And for that reason, it was a refreshing conversation. So, I'm attorney Roger P. Foley. Share, subscribe. Appreciate you. See ya.